I'm James Barrington in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is Scotty Powell in the foothills of Morganton, North Carolina. We're coming to you right now live on the Carolina Weather Net and across the social media platforms of the Carolina Weather Group. We are tracking a tornado warning. We have a chaser out there. It's our friend Dan Whitaker. We will get to him in just a moment to find out what it is that he is seeing in the area. But let's just give people a quick lay of the land before we do that. Pop up radar right here. We are on the north side of Guilford County, just to the northern outskirts of the Greensboro metro area. This tornado warning goes for the next 19 minutes or so, and we'll switch on over and show you kind of in a dual field here. On the right-hand side, this is the velocity. This is the wind rotation. So we're watching this area right now near Stokesdale and Summerfield. You should be in your safe place. That's where we got our professional storm chaser, Dan Whitaker. He's out there not too far from that area, as I understand it. Dan, what is the latest where you are?
So I'm over here right now, just south of Stokesdale, off of 2, in Summerfield, where tornado warning just formed kind of right in front of me. I'm positioned here at a parking lot. We had some really fast wind come through and some really heavy rain, but that's about it so far. Frequent lightning and people, of course, hearing the tornado warning go off on phones and kind of running into these buildings, into the grocery store. So we're here right now and probably engage a little bit more further north to see if we can see anything up the road here. But definitely kind of an interesting start so far.
That's right. This is our first tornado warning of the evening here in the Carolinas. We're in a slight risk of seeing severe weather with a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for central North Carolina, including Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Durham, and areas in the central North Carolina area along more or less that Virginia line. We'll continue to look at these live pictures from Dan Whitaker, who finds himself inside this polygon. If you are just joining us, let's show you this polygon. Same locations on the left and the right side of the screen. Left side is rain, right side is wind. So the area we're watching, and we have been watching off air for the last little bit, is right through on in here, Oak Ridge, Stokesdale, and Summerfield, with a general rotation heading off to the east, a little bit to the north, but generally to the east. As we put this into motion to show you the last few moments here on radar, this is from the perspective of the Roanoke radar. You can begin to see the area of rotation come into view. It is hugging right now just south of the county line, still inside of Guilford. Estimated winds with this right now from radar estimates only about 30 miles an hour or so, but I would expect that would actually be higher on the ground. We have Scotty Powell, who's joining us from the foothills of North Carolina as well, too, a member of our Carolina Weather Group team, keeping a close eye on all of this. And Scotty, it looks like the National Weather Service has just gone ahead and cleared Stokesdale and Oak Ridge as we're continuing to watch this kind of outer bow rotation move to the east here. We have a new updated tornado warning. What have you been able to discern from looking at the text of this warning, Scotty, that we should be relaying to folks right now at 7:15?
Thing is, it looks like that the storm is weakening just a little bit, but looking at that latest text, good thing is the main part of this rotation is going to be in some rural areas of northern Guilford County. We know Greensboro is Guilford County, kind of like the county seat where the biggest population is. This is moving to the north of that, just outside of Summerfield. But again, some of the locations with this would be Hall River State Park, Lake Townsend Marina, Lake Jeanette, and Monticello. And I know that's kind of like a nature preserve area. A lot of people go out there hiking and things like that. So thankfully, with it being 7:15 and the sun down, hopefully there's no one out in these locations. But again, this is a radar indicated. There's been no damage reports that I've been able to see in our NWS chat there. So that is a good sign. No debris being detected on radar. So this is just radar indicated. I will say, got a text message from our friend Wes Grimes. He lives in the area where this storm kind of spun up at, and he was talking about just the sudden change in the wind direction and how it really the wind just really started to pick up with some heavy rain. So he lives in Stokesdale. which this storm has an Oak Ridge between Stokesdale and Oak Ridge. So the tornado warning no longer in effect for that area. But he was just kind of talking about the sun changing the wind direction and the heavy rain. So thankfully, where this is at right now in the northern part of the county, not a lot of populated areas, but there are some roads. And I've got a buzz here in my ear where, let me see. Okay, that's for, I guess, for the Roanoke office. So we'll continue that. That was the tornado, severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag. Kind of two warnings going on here, James. One with tornado warning, and then a severe thunderstorm warning with this. But again, James, no damage being relayed here in the weather chat and with NWS. So that is a good sign. But definitely some really gusty winds out there. Radar estimates anywhere between 50, 60, 65 mile per hour. Wind gusts moving just south of Summerfield along Highway 220. So, that definitely can do some damage, James. We like to say wind is wind, no matter if it's rotating or blowing in a straight line. You get wind 50, 60 mile per hour. It definitely can bring down some trees and some weaker structures and things like that. So, thankfully, right now, no damage being reported, so that's a good sign. I'll continue to monitor social media and the weather service and see if there's any updates with that, James.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Scotty Powell, member of our Carolina Weather Group team. It is 7:17. We're continuing to watch this tornado warning, the only one in the Carolinas right now to tell you about in Guilford County, just to the north side of the Greensboro metro area. Your eyes are not deceiving you. There are two different polygons on the screen here. The red one is the tornado warning. That goes for another 12 minutes or so. And as Scotty was just telling us, does include places like Bethany, 9 miles north of Greensboro, moving east at 20 miles an hour. We have a broader yellow severe thunderstorm warning for the potential of damaging winds near 60 miles an hour or so. And we just actually had that kind of sneak off to the east as well, kind of giving a little bit of the all clear again in Stokesdale and Oak Ridge. Not that this lightning and this thunder and this heavy rain is not entertaining, but the severe threat, the damaging threat is continuing to move off to the east now to about 20 miles an hour or so. Again, just hanging south of the county line. We will let you know just one county north and just over the state line, this area of rotation in the Virginia side of things, which is now moved out of Martinsville towards Danville, did have a tornado warning with it earlier. The National Weather Service has gone ahead and allowed that warning to expire, but those were two areas that have been warned at some point here. This one now making its way into the Danville area, and this area north of Greensboro. We are watching a line out ahead of a cold front that is moving to the east across the Carolinas. And as a result of all of that, the National Weather Service in Greenville, the National Weather Service has issued a slight risk, a tier 2 out of 5 for the potential of seeing severe weather. This is in effect mostly for central North Carolina, and this area will be kind of diminishing as the line moves off to the east. So as we continue to track this line moving to the east, that threat will go away after the line passes on through, as that cold front comes on through. But the main threat will be from potential damaging winds. If you are to see some sort of damage today associated with any of these storms, more than likely it would come from wind. And we can actually see that in the profile here, a 15% chance of encountering a thunderstorm capable of damaging winds. Hail, not so much of a concern, and we can't rule out a tornado as well, too. 5% there right across that Greensboro, Danville area across central North Carolina and Virginia. That outer green area is a 2%. So again, even here in Charlotte, we can't completely rule it out. But if you're watching from the Charlotte area, our threat mainly moved all the way north. The National Weather Service kept moving that slight risk yesterday. It included portions of the Sandhills of South Carolina. Woke up today, it was right there across the Charlotte area. And now this evening, it's north of us. So we're watching this whole line as it moves on through the area. But by and large, we do have the threat mainly centered here across central North Carolina. Scotty, while I was talking, I heard the National Weather Service maybe issue a new product. Can you bring us up to speed on what that latest tag was?
Yeah, we just got an update here. 10 minutes left in this tornado warning, so it has been continued. This storm, again, capable of producing a tornado near Monroeton, or 9 miles north of Greensboro, moving east at 30 miles per hour. Getting some questions on social media about the direction of the storm. So it is moving east around 35 miles per hour. Again, more in a rural location, Summerfield, Halls River State Park, Lake Jeanette, Marina, Lake Townsend, Monticello. Those places definitely need to be in your safe place. But again, that was just an update. No damage being reported from this. This is still radar indicated tornado. And James, I guess a good place, a good time right now is, where do you go if you are in this polygon? And so you want to be in the lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside. So we say the most centralized, lowest and centralized. Maybe that's a basement. Maybe that's the lower level. If you live in a 2-story home, lowest level, interior closet, bathroom, something like that. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside. And then when you find that safe place, you definitely want to make sure that you have some sort of protection on. So we always recommend a helmet. It could be a baseball helmet, bicycle helmet, football helmet, just something protect your head. We also recommend that you wear some kind of eye protection. If there is a tornado and there's flying debris, you don't want any of that in your eyes. You want some sturdy shoes. So if there is debris and you have to walk out, you're most likely going to be stepping on wood or metal or something like that. So we want to make sure that you have some good shoes, no sandals or anything like that to keep you from getting any injury. So again, lowest level of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Thankfully, these storms are moving pretty quickly, 35, 40 miles per hour. So, that gives you a little bit of chance if you're not under this rotation, if you are there in northern Guilford County, to be prepared and be in your safe place. But again, James, we've got about 8 minutes left with this warning. I will say the radar, looking at the radar, again, we're kind of in that no man's land between, are we using Raleigh radar or Roanoke radar? So we're kind of in that in-between area where it seems like we always find ourselves when we're doing these events. But at least from the radar views of Roanoke and Raleigh, the rotation not as pronounced as it was once this warning was indicated, but there's still enough rotation there to warrant this tornado warning, at least for the next 6-7 minutes or so.
Yeah, and while we're waiting for the next update, and you can see some of the scans updating here on the left-hand side of your screen, I just want to kind of zoom out here for a moment. We do have another area worth watching as the line moves on through. This just came across, say, Winston-Salem University. We were watching the Skycam there earlier on campus. If you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, and you can kind of see this right here. This is the winds moving out ahead. Again, we're looking at winds here on this particular radar picture. But if I were to switch it back over to reflectivity to show you rain, this is probably what you're most used to seeing when you look at radar. You can kind of get an idea of where some of the heaviest of rains are right now, coming into areas like High Point in the next few. I do want to zoom out. I do want to
James,
radar.
Can you go back into that what you were just saying? I want to zoom in just south of Kernersville. Let's see if we can go to velocity. I'm noticing some rotation just south of Kernersville. So if we can get to velocity there, that's going to be, there we go. It's going to be just to the west of this severe thunderstorm warning polygon between Winston-Salem.
Are you talking about this little?
Yeah. So there we go. So we see this little inflow notch, and again, this is radar. Greens is moving away from radar. Red is moving towards the radar, and we're starting to see this little notch develop just south of Kernersville. Again, this is not a warning, but it is showing that there is some rotation with this storm. So I'm curious. We're going to have to watch this rear inflow notch here as this line. And James, this is kind of associated with a line of storms. So these are more QLCS, and I know you probably don't know that QLCS term, but basically what it is this is a line of thunderstorms. And anytime we see any indentations, any notches, those could produce some quick spin-up tornadoes. It's not like your classic supercells that you would see on a spring day where they're just kind of by themselves. This is a line of storms. And when we see these little notches within that line of storms, it always kind of piques our interest that we could see a quick spin up. So we'll continue to watch that. Just seeing the latest update here on my radar, and you'll probably see it here on screen in just the next second or two. The rotation there a little bit, but it has weakened just a little bit. So we'll continue to watch that. If you live south of Kernersville along Interstate 40 between Greensboro and Winston-Salem, a pretty well-traveled area this time of the day, as a lot of folks are heading home. We'll continue to watch that. But again, if you live south of Kernersville, we're watching this storm. This would be also north of Jamestown and High Point. So kind of that Kernersville to High Point to Greensboro, that area we're watching, as well as this continuing tornado warning for northern Guilford County.
Yeah, a couple of comments coming in. We have folks watching on Facebook, YouTube, other places. Donna asking why the video title is generic. It just says tornado warning in the Carolinas. And it's because, as Scotty was just mentioning, these tornadoes are going to be spinning up so quickly. We don't want the title of the video to give you a false sense of alarm or safety. And so we're going to be watching for the potential of multiple warnings to be coming out here. And if we were to title the video just tornado warning Guilford County and then say we get a warning someplace else, people who might be living in a county, not Guilford, might dismiss it. So we understand that's a little confusing too. That's just kind of what we have found covering 2 states. Sometimes you start a video under one title and then you're on air for 8 hours because the tornado warnings keep coming. Whether or not that's going to happen here is yet to be seen. But as Scotty's been mentioning, we're watching again another area of rotation right on in here. We'll wait to see what the National Weather Service decides to do with this. As Scotty was just talking about, this is all associated with a line right now. So we do have the line stretching down from Virginia into North Carolina, and this is moving off to the east. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect right on through here until about 1 a.m. And if you're further south than this, let me just switch perspectives to show you what it looks like from the radar in Greenville, Spartanburg. We do one radar at a time here because it allows us to actually get higher resolution data than if we were doing a general mosaic. So we are watching some areas of showers and thunderstorms move into northern Charlotte and even down here across portions of South Carolina, but we do not have any warnings down there. And so that's why we're not talking a lot about this area. Didn't want to leave any of those folks out as we are continuing to watch here. This just one tornado warning we have right now in the Carolinas, and this is for Guilford County. Estimated winds are pretty impressive here, 40, 50 miles per hour. But again, these are just radar estimates, and we are a good distance away, as Scotty mentioned, from the nearest radar site. So it's kind of hard to get an accurate reading. Our storm chaser, Dan Whitaker, who joined us a few moments ago off the top of the stream, is still safe and sound. He has hopped off our live coverage so he can reposition himself in his vehicle. But he did send us a message to let us know that he's doing all right, because he was, as Scotty, you'll know, he was essentially like right on in here someplace as this came on through. So just like we've been hearing, even if there's no tornado, the winds themselves, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, wind is wind, and that has the potential to be really scary and do damaging. No reports right now of a tornado on the ground, but a tornado warning means that you should be moving to whatever your safe place is, because there's a potential for one, and that's associated with this area of rotation right here. Watching a few more to see what the Weather Service decides to do. Scotty, what are you keeping an eye on right now?
Yeah, James, new tornado warning, new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag possible at that area we were just highlighting there, just north of High Point. So there'll be a new polygon issued there shortly. Besides that, we'll continue to watch this line. Thankfully, it's moving fairly quickly through the area, so we will get these storms in and out of there. But if you live anywhere between Greensboro to Raleigh up into the Virginia line, the border area, that seems to be where the best dynamics for these storms will be. Thankfully, we have now reached sunset, so hopefully some of that instability, that daytime heating, will start to wane a little bit and these storms will weaken, but that's no guarantee. But that's something that we will watch. But that is a new severe thunderstorm warning that really encompasses a lot of area right now.
Yeah, I'm still actually waiting for it to show up on the screen. I don't think it's shown up yet. It's going to be almost as far south as Salisbury. Yeah,
it's a pretty big polygon. It just populated on my radar scope, so we'll see it pop up here in just a little bit. But it's going to be almost that entire line that you see there on the screen is going to be warned. So if you live near Hillsboro, Saxapaw, there it is. UNC, Durham, that line is going to be moving off to the east. So again, anywhere in this, you can kind of see how I like to call it notchy. I don't know if that's a word or not, but you kind of see the little hooks, the little indentations along this line between High Point down towards Lexington. Those are the areas that we'll have to watch tonight for brief spin-ups of tornadoes. But again, thankfully, this tornado warning, I just heard the buzz in my ear.
It's a tag. It's
a tag. So the original tornado warning was scheduled to expire at 7:30. I have not seen Yeah, I've not seen that re-updated, so that's a good sign. So the tornado warning that we were originally on air for has been able to expire on time, so that's some good news there. But now what we are watching, James, will be this huge polygon, this huge line of storms as it moves through Winston-Salem, High Point, Greensboro into the Raleigh area. That's where we could watch additional spin-ups. It's just one of those nights where you'll have to watch radar, and it may show rotation for a couple of frames and then go away. It could be one of those nights where they could be pretty quick. So we'll continue to monitor that, James. I saw a question here from Christina asking about the threat for Burke County, and I'll even extend that into Western North Carolina. That the threat's over. Once this line moves through your area, the threat is over for the night. In fact, we are cleared out, and I see stars in the skies. I look out the window. So there's clear skies in Western North Carolina. One thing to mention, it was not really severe weather related, but as this front moves through, we're going to see some gusty northwest winds develop on the backside of this. So you could definitely see some gusty winds this evening if you live in the mountains, foothills, and eventually into the Piedmont as the cooler northwest flow sets up and sets off for a good couple of days before more heavy rain sets into the area on Thursday and Friday. So, James, with that, I will give it back to you. We'll continue to monitor the severe weather threat tonight, but thankfully no tornado warnings right now.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're watching on our Carolina WeatherNet, our free streaming service on YouTube, where you can watch us nonstop, including the best of the Carolina Weather Group, we will be returning you to regular scheduled programming in just a moment. And you can keep yourself parked there for the rest of the night, monitoring real-time radar, sky cameras, and then we will be along if necessary for any additional tornado warnings. It is still within the cards that another one could pop up here shortly. If you're watching on Facebook or on another YouTube video, be sure to like and subscribe wherever it is you are watching right now, this live coverage from the Carolina Weather Group, so you will be notified if and when we do come back on the air for additional severe weather coverage. As Scotty just mentioned, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that does still now include portions of Greensboro, High Point, Lexington. This is moving off to the east with potential for damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour. Wind is wind. So while this is not a tornado warning, do head inside, seek shelter inside a sturdy building, postpone any travel until this line has passed, because you are looking here at about 50 or 60 mile per hour winds coming on through as this line continues to move east at 20 miles an hour. In Charlotte, North Carolina, I am James Brierton. In Morganton, that is Scotty Powell. We will be back with additional updates from the Carolina Weather Group as conditions warrant. Stay safe, stay weather aware.